Hey there YouTubers, and welcome to another episode of Odd and Old Tech. Now this is going to be a bit of a granular video because I suppose I've covered technology like this twice now. So I'm just going to be showing off what this device is, bit of history on it, and so let's go. This is the Iomega Jaz Drive, and it's very similar, if not the same, to the Castlewood Orb Drive and the Iomega Rev Drive, which I've already done videos on. And it's the same in that it's a hard drive inside a cartridge. There is two hard disk platters inside here for a total of 2 GB in size, but by the time you format it and such, you get about 1.8 GB, which for the time is quite a lot of space. You could get quite a lot of files on this. I have actually seen a video of somebody running a whole copy of Windows off of a Jaz disk, and I just thought that was hilarious. They installed Windows 98, they were playing bloody Diablo or something like that, and it was just crazy. You can't really do that today without some sort of extra steps. You can't just install Windows 10 on a USB and have it work. It just doesn't, at least not when I've tried anyway. But you know, this guy just did everything as you normally would with an internal hard drive. Just told the installer to go here, and it did it, and it booted, and it was relatively speedy. And I was amazed. It's what actually got me to get the Jaz Drive, because even though it has its flaws, it's just so quirky. It's interesting to see that back in the 90s, this is what people were using. There was no USB. There was no like 64 gig USB drive that you could get, or something like that. Like you had 2 GB cartridges or 1 GB or whatever you had, and stuff like that. And it's just, I just think it's amazing, and I like using it. And even though the file transfer speed is pants compared to today, it just intrigues me. So here I have the drive, but it started off. The Jaz Drive basically flopped. It failed. It came out and there was just problem. The first model to come out was the 1 GB drive, which I believe was the V1000S. I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right, because this is the V2000S, which, and I guess the 1000 and 2000 stands for 1 GB and 2 GB respectively. But it came out and people were complaining that the drive was noisy, it was vibrating as loud as their bloody dildo, discs were getting stuck in the drive, you know, like a dildo stuck in your butt, and you know, it just flopped. And by the time Iomega actually got off their butt, got the dildo out of their butt, and fixed most of the issues, people just weren't interested. So it just faded into oblivion, basically. The regular computer user had just moved on. These were then mostly found used with audio recording equipment and stuff like that. Like some Jaz drives would come built in, or could be swapped out, etc, etc. And the person I got this from said that they used it years ago with their Roland audio equipment, and it never had a problem with it, and I've never had a problem with the drive either. So thumbs up from me. But despite all those issues, it gave Iomega a bad rap, because their zip drive, which was out as well, was having the click of death. So it was just adding more and more black marks to their track record of reliable devices. And so it just faded, and Iomega gave up on it. They did try and reboot the Jaz Drive though with the Rev Drive, because it's pretty much the same, only smaller. The Rev Drive, as I said in the other video, is just a hard drive in a tiny little cartridge, which is exactly what this is. It's just a hard drive in a cartridge. This is 2 GB, this was 35 GB, and they tried to win that market back. And it worked somewhat, but you can go watch the other video for that. So yeah, it's quirky to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the drive working and how I got it working, because trying to get this to work with a Mac, oh baby, you can forget it. I'll explain why. I'm using it with an adapter. It's a SCSI, whatever, serial computer, whatever. I'm sure it stands for something. I don't care. There's an adapter there that basically changes the SCSI to USB 1.0. And if you try and use that on a Mac, unless you want to wait 10 years to fill the disk, I wouldn't bother. I don't exactly know what's going on between the device and the adapter and the Mac OS, but I'm trying to use it. I tried to use it on Yosemite or whatever, and it showed up. The disk showed up, but trying to access it took about 10 minutes. Trying to copy a file to it was going to take 4 days, and yeah, it's like it's trying to transfer files at 5 kilobytes every 2 minutes. It's doing it in really, really slow bursts, and eventually I gave up and I used it the way I'm about to describe now. Now, I have a virtual machine. It's running Windows 2000, and I use that for my receipt printer when I sell stuff on eBay, because that also doesn't work with the Mac. And what I noticed is, I thought, well, the drive should just work, right? This was all around at the time, so I plugged it in and I told the virtual machine to use the SCSI adapter, and lo and behold, a new drive icon shows up that just says removable disk. Didn't need no drivers, no nothing. Now, I suppose if I was using a SCSI card inside an old computer tower or something like that, then I would need drivers. However, in this case, I don't. And to my surprise, this works with 2000, XP, Windows 7, Windows 10. I haven't tried any of the others, all without drivers. It's just plug in and go with that USB adapter. I don't know if the FireWire adapter will be the same. Apparently Iomega brought one of those out, but I don't have it to try, so I cannot comment. So let's pop the disc in, and we can see the performance of this thing. Now, as I push the disc in, the metal door is pushed open as I push it in, so there's a bit of force that has to be exerted. Excuse me while my camera strap just falls apart in my hand. Right, so it gets a bit springy at this point, so you just have to push it in, and we can listen to the lovely noise of it spinning up. Alright, so the icon doesn't really change, and if I just click on it, if I double click on it rather, and we're in. So as you can see, there's about 1.86 gigabytes total capacity. I formatted it in FAT, and we've got about 1.67 gigabytes free. Now, the way I'm able to use this through the Mac then, if I want to copy any files from there, as you can see I've already done so, what I do is I can just drag and drop through the virtual machine. Let me just find some files so I can show. Excuse me a second. Just stare at Tally while I find some files. Let's see. These will do. And I can just drag and drop, and what will happen is the virtual machine will copy all of this folder to a temporary directory, and then Windows 2000 will handle copying it to the drive. As you can see, it's copying about 90 megabytes worth to a temporary folder. And now Windows 2000 is handling the actual copy. So 90 megabytes will take about 2 minutes. And as you can see, the drive is going along nicely. And the adapter at the back is flashing rather rapidly to indicate that data is going in. So, oh okay, I thought it moved up to 3 minutes there. So about 2 minutes. Oh, it did move up to 3 minutes. Oh, it's hovering. Okay. So I'm just copying over some friends' music. I'll leave a link into his tracks if they are still up. I'm not sure if he's taken them down or not. So we're transferring at about USB 1.0 speeds, and I have the adapter hooked in and going around to the Mac keyboard, the USB 1 port at the back. Now I noticed if you try and plug this into a USB 2 port, it will it'll work, but it's a bit flaky. Sometimes the adapter just shuts off, and I think that's literally because a USB 2 port is it's too new. The adapter doesn't know really what to do, and I think the data transfer is just a bit too fast for it to keep a stable connection, because I managed to get data transfer to work, but after it was finished it would just shut off and I couldn't get it back until I unplugged and replugged it back into a USB 2 port. So that was that. But USB 1, I mean, I don't mind waiting 2 minutes. I don't really mind waiting 10 minutes, to be honest. But days, it was telling me days on the Mac side when I was trying it there, whether no matter what port I had it in, and I was just like, nope, none of that. So it's nearly done. And what I'll try and do now is I'll try and play some of the music, and we'll see what happens if it skips or jumps around as it's trying to access, and we'll have a look. So here we go, here's the folder. Let's see, I know sometimes the file size can... Oh, okay, 88 megabytes or so, not bad, for 16 files. Okay, let's see, let's try and play some. Let me just turn the volume up on my television if I can find the remote. Interesting how the clip and author is blank, or something's happening there. So as you can see, it seems relatively fine. Oh, okay, the artist, okay. So there's the artist information there, on that one. But on these, strange. Maybe it's just not copying all of the,
You are a man, I am a machine. Other than that slight difference.
Okay. So as you can see, it's working quite well. It isn't skipping and jumping around unless I actually do it. Copyright or flag on that a bit. So yeah. It's working quite nicely, I'd say. At least playing MP3 files. Now let's see if I can quickly find a video clip. Will this do? See how it handles playing video. I don't even know if this virtual machine can do that. Right, so that's that copied. See what happens. There's the QuickTime logo. Oh, here we go. Is it going to do it?
I wish I could tell you more pertinent news.
Oh boy.
But we're in a rating system here. And the key factor is sensationalism. They got you running in circles.
Wow.
9 to 5. Then 5 to 9. You're mine. I tell you what they want you to know. And you consider it the truth. Nobody is opening their eyes. Our global economy is depleting the world of our lives.
Okay.
Natural resources.
Okay, so that didn't work. That didn't work. I'm not too sure if that's the virtual machine or if that's the drive, or maybe both. I have never tried to play a video through that, so that was, I guess, a bit silly on my part. Deleting files is pretty much the same as you would. The only thing is, it deletes it straight away. It does not move it into the recycle bin. If I press yes, it's gone. Unless I use data recovery software, I guess. And that's about it really for the Iomega Jaz Drive. I hope, despite this being a bit of a granular video, that it's been informative, and I hope you've enjoyed. If you have enjoyed, feel free to thumbs up that video. If you like what I'm doing with the channel, feel free to subscribe, and there will be more videos like this. And so yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, which will most likely be about the Magneto optical drive, of which I have a 2.3 GB one here. So thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next video.